Hey, it's Nate with another piano tutorial. Today we're gonna do Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears. It's really fun to play and sing, but there's a particular way of counting the rhythms that I wanna make sure that you understand in order to really nail it. Let's just get into it. All right, so first off, I recommend getting the chords and lyrics chart. I put a link down in the description. You can print it out, you can follow along and see where the chords line up with the words. And now I mentioned the rhythm. Now, technically, the best way to describe the time signature of this song is 12/8 time. 12/8 time is an example of compound time where you can feel it both in groups of 4 or groups of 3, sort of simultaneously. We're mostly gonna be feeling the slow groups of 4. That's gonna be kind of the pacing of the chords as they change. So like in the chorus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to be feeling that pulse. Maybe the best way to illustrate the groups of 3, which are a lot faster, would be to listen to the hi-hat, the drums on the recording. As those groups of 4 are happening, you hear so there's these groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Basically, each one of those slower counts is being divided up into 3. The reason why this matters, and I wanted to explain it at the beginning, is I mentioned that a lot of the underlying structure and pacing, we're going to be thinking in groups of 4. A lot of the particular rhythms that happen in the keyboard part, in order to really accurately count them, you need to be thinking in those groups of 3. So maybe take a second right now and just pulse on a low D, that's going to come in later, and just count to yourself 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. See if you can kind of just get a handle on that. Okay, with that said, let's dive into the intro. In the very intro, the first part, that starts the song, that guitar melody, that is a place where we really need to be thinking in 3, because we're thinking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's that fast rhythm, and the notes are F sharp, A, F sharp, B, F sharp, A. That's the whole thing. It's 2 groups of 3. F sharp, A, F sharp, and then B, F sharp, A. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And it does that for 4 measures of the slow 4 pulse. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's 1 measure. And then again, 1 more. Then we're in the intro that goes into the verse. And that main keyboard part for the verses and the choruses is actually pretty easy. So if doing this fast riff feels a little overwhelming, you can totally just skip that and let's just kind of get into the meat of the song where we're gonna sing. So here's the main chord progression for this keyboard part, and we're technically still in the intro because it goes around twice on this before the singing starts. And notice that each one of these chords has a /D. What comes after that slash is the bass note. So A over D or G over D, either way, we're just pulsing, if feeling it in the groups of 4, slow quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. For the A, we're gonna do it like that. It's gonna be an E, an A, and a C sharp, so it's an inversion on an A chord. And then we've got a G chord. We're also gonna do it inverted like this. It's gonna be a D, a G, and a B. Notice I'm using 1, 2, and 4 for my fingers here, but 1, 3, and 5 here for my fingers. It just makes it a little bit easier to kind of go between these if you only have to really move your thumb. And the first measure is half A, half G, and then the next measure is just full G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. To get the timing on the switch, it kind of happens between 2 and 3. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Of course, if you really want to nail the rhythm, technically we have to count with the 3s. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So it's on one of those 3s. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then after you go around this twice, then we get to the verse. It's gonna get a little quieter. Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you. Now we're in the chorus. Chorus is pretty easy. Here's the chord progression for it. I'll just step through all these chords. We need an E minor chord. I'm just keeping my left hand kind of in the same spot as been, so I'm going to use my fourth finger on this E bass note here while doing a E, G, and B in the right hand. Then that steps up to an F sharp minor. So we got F sharp, A, and C sharp here. I'm going to use my third finger on that single F sharp bass note. I'm going to step this up now to a G. Second finger here for the G bass note, and then G, B, D, just all white keys for the G chord. Steps down, kind of goes back up, and then for this A, we're gonna do it like this in root position. So A, C sharp, E. So we were inverted down before. This time we're doing that one. And with the timing, it's just we're counting in 4 full measures of each, and then the second time around, they go twice as fast, so it's 2 per measure. So it's like E, 2, 3, 4, F sharp minor, 2, 3, 4. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Now they start going twice as fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rule the world. So after that chorus, you just kind of land back in that same thing that we were doing for the verse. And yeah, I'm just pulsing on those quarter notes in the left hand just to keep that energy of the bass line going while just holding the chords in the right. So after that chorus and after we've kind of gone around on the instrumental section, we've got another verse. It's just like the first verse, followed by another chorus. Just like the first chorus, both of these, of course, have different words than the first time around. And I'm going to play the whole song at the end so you can see how it all fits. Then we've got the bridge. That's going to be the... There's a room where the light won't find you, holding hands while the... So, we've got a G, just like we've been doing it, a D, and an A. And I think there's a couple different ways you could play this. Let's keep it simple at first. Just kind of holding the right-hand chords and just counting it full measure of G and then half a measure of D, half a measure of A. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So just pulsing the quarter notes in the left. Room when the light won't find you, holding hands while the walls come tumbling down. I think that's a totally legit way to play that. It sounds cool. If we want to do kind of the next level fast rhythm thing that happens here, which is really cool, we got to be thinking in those groups of 3 again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1. It happens on the 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again on the 2 and then the 1. And then finally, it does anticipate this next G as it loops around a little bit ahead of the measure on beat 3, thinking in threes, the fast threes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's how to count it exactly, but you might be able to just kind of do it by ear, you know, just have it sound like the recording. There's a room where the light won't find you, holding hands while the walls come. So anyway, after that bridge, you just go right into another chorus. So glad we've almost made it. And then we've got this interlude. It's a long instrumental section where there's some melodies, sort of some guitar solo-y type stuff. So this is probably going to be the most complicated part, but let's do it. So it's going to start with 4 times through this little bass line that the underlying kind of chords is like G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, A, 2, or 4. And I'm using my second finger, so back to just kind of the main position I had in the verses. And I'm just pulsing quarter notes. Does that 4 times. Meanwhile, the guitar is doing the same thing we did in the intro. It's just repeating that. So if we start thinking in the 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1, the left hand is just hitting on every one. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. If that is hard to coordinate, you can also just hold. Before we go any further though into this, if doing this is too tricky, I think you could totally just, instead of doing the interlude as I'm showing you, you could just take an instrumental time or two through the, and I think that would be totally legit, and then just go into the next chorus. But so after we go through that with that bass line, the underlying chords change. We got this B minor, C, G, A. So I'm going to move my hand up, and it's going to be B, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, B. And then we've got a G, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4. Now, the guitar that we were doing keeps going. And then to the G. And this is where we just gonna land back on that, and it goes around on that for 2 full times before getting back to a chorus. But one more layer that you can add, if you like, is when it does get to that part with the B's and the C's, on top of that fast guitar, another instrument comes in, like a synthesizer doing, which is a really catchy melody. I think it's worth exploring that and maybe working that into the version. You can't do all three at once because I don't have 3 hands to do the bass line, that, and the synth line. But the notes there are, and this is kind of the pickup note lead in, B, I'm using my 3rd finger here, D, C sharp, B, A. Then I'm going to move my hand, drop my 3rd finger on F sharp, G, A, D. Again, da, 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 da. This is where I am not going to do all the counting. I really try to count everything out in my videos, but I think going into the 2s and 3s of the fast counting here is going to actually be more confusing than not. So if you do this part, I think you can try to do it just based on your ear, how it's supposed to sound. You can tell there's that da 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 da, and then da 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 da. Those last da 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 are a little bit faster. We can talk about where these notes collide with the left hand movements. So the B is a pickup note, and then when you get to the D, that's where the B's in the left hand start. And then when you play the C, that's where the F sharp is. And then same thing again. And then for the G's and A's, it's kind of the same thing. And then, but I'm probably going to also add those quarter note pulses. I'm going to play through my whole version of that interlude. One more time. That reminds me, there's one other kind of cool thing that happens whenever there's an instrumental one of these, like right here. Also, after the first chorus, you can add on a little ba 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 ba. If we want to get into the counting, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on the ones and the threes there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So anyway, we're at the end of that interlude. Then we go into another chorus. I can't stand this indecision. And then it's kind of a double chorus. The second one is the one that's a little bit different vocally. Say that you'll never, 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 never need it. One, but it's the same thing. Then we've got one more short interlude that's just like the first part of the interlude we just did with the G, D, A bass line here. It just goes around that a couple times. Again, if you want to keep it simpler, you could totally just do this instrumental for that. Then we've got one last chorus. Same as all the other choruses, just different words. And then the song ends by going around a few times on this main part. The recording fades out, which is not something that usually works very well if it's just you and a piano live in a room. So I'll probably just go around, the same length as a verse, and then just end on a like that, just kind of hold that G over D, and then the song is over. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for sticking with me. There was a lot going on there. I'm going to now put it all together in a complete cover so you can see how all of that fits. If you enjoyed this, please do subscribe. Click the bell so you know when I put out more videos like this. I put out a couple a week. Have a poke around the channel, see what else you might want to learn, and if you have any requests, feel free to drop those in the comments. I think this one actually was a request. That's what first put it on my radar to do. So I definitely do check out all the requests, and yeah, give it a like. Here's my version of Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while the walls come tumbling down. When you do, I'll be right behind you. So glad we've almost made it. So sad they had to fade it. Everybody wants to rule the world. this indecision, married with a lack of vision. Everybody wants to roll the say that you'll never, 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 never need it. One headline, why believe it? Everybody wants to rule the world. All for freedom and for pleasure, nothing